Hello, and welcome to the Amazon Route 53 introduction. In this video, I will explain the basics about the service and do a demo showing how easily you can create your own DNS zones. I'm Rafael with the AWS Training and Certification team, and as part of the team, I have contributed to developing and delivering exclusive training content like this one. This video introduces Route 53, and here we will walk through an overview and potential use cases for the service, and then watch a demonstration so as you can see the service in action. Let's take a closer look with an overview of the service. Route 53 is a domain name system, or DNS, which is a service designed to provide businesses and developers a reliable and highly scalable way to route end users to endpoints. These endpoints could be an application, which needs to be translated into an IP address for computing systems talk to each other. And this is where the DNS comes in. In order to provide DNS translation for your domain name, you can manage your own DNS server, or you can employ a managed DNS solution like Amazon Route 53. So how does it work? Suppose that a user opens a web browser and enters a domain name for a website like example.com. That query is typically routed to that user's internet service provider's DNS. If that website's DNS is handled by Amazon Route 53, then the user's internet service provider's DNS forwards the request to Route 53, reaching the servers hosted and managed by Route 53 for you. And these servers will know how to translate example.com into something like 54.85.178.219. Now that the user knows that example.com is identified by this IP address, and then the user's browser can make requests for that specific address. When you sign up for Route 53, the first thing you do is create a hosted zone. This is where your DNS data will be kept. When you do that, you receive 4 name servers where you can delegate on your domain. On the next screen, you specify your fully qualified domain name, or FQDN, which is the domain you have purchased with the DNS registrar. This could be external, or you can even use Route 53 to purchase a domain. Privacy services is also a possible option with Amazon's Route 53 registrar, allowing you to hide partial or all of your information from the WHOIS database. But back to the hosted zones, the hosted zone will contain record sets, which are the DNS translations you want to perform for that specific domain, such as blog.example.com or www.example.com or api.example.com. After you hit the Create the Hosted Zone button, the hosted zone is ready to resolve DNS queries for that domain. You can have external or internal DNS hosted zones. Internal ones are typically used internally when your application components need to communicate to each other. Okay, let's do a demonstration showing how easy it is to create a hosted zone and edit some record sets in Route 53. So, you can have your application running on EC2 instances, Elastic Load Balancer, or on an on-premises server in your on-premises data center. In this case, I have a very simple application running on a sample instance, on an EC2 instance, which is from the type T2 Micro, and it is in US East 1B. This instance is running in the Virginia AWS region. And this instance is a web server with a public IP address. If I copy this IP address and put in my browser, I can see the web server responding to the requests. This is an application running in an EC2 instance. Now let's give that application a name and use Route 53 to resolve the names for that application. In this case, I have the domain sampleapplication.net. So I can go to Route 53 and click on the button Create a Hosted Zone. When I click on that button, I can put sampleapplication.net as the domain name. And in this case, this domain name is a public hosted zone. When I click on Create, I will have the hosted zone created for me. On the hosted zone that I have created, I can create a new record set. If I click on the blue button, Create Record Set, I have the option of specifying which is the subdomain I want to use for my application. In this case, I can put www.sampleapplication.net, which is from the type IPv4 address that resolves to the address 52.90.65.52, which is the IP address of my EC2 instance. If I had multiple EC2 instances, I could put multiple IP addresses in here. If I have an elastic load balancer or a CloudFront distribution, or if I'm hosting my website using Amazon S3 with the static website hosting, I could put the S3 endpoints here as well. Here is where I choose the routing policy. In this case, I just want to translate that name to that IP address. Then when I hit create, the www.sampleapplication.net is ready to be routed to the IP address that corresponds to the IP address of my server. If I go to a web browser and type www.sampleapplication.net and press enter, we can see Route 53 resolving the requests for this name to that specific IP address. If I go and do an NS lookup on www.sampleapplication.net, I can see that the DNS resolver is resolving sampleapplication.net to 52.90.65.52, which is the IP address that I want Route 53 to resolve. Route 53 goes beyond just a name to an IP address resolution and also offers several other resolution strategies, all of them using a global network of DNS servers around the world. That makes it possible for you to shorten the distances between your DNS resolution and your customers. So when they search for your domain, their queries are automatically routed to the closest DNS server, which resides in one of the many AWS edge locations. This means higher availability and increased performance at a large volume. In addition to simple routing, Route 53 supports geolocation, failover, weighted round robin, latency-based routing, and multi-value answer. But exploring these different types of DNS resolution is a subject for another video. Now, to summarize what we've learned, Amazon Route 53 is a global, highly available DNS service that allows you to easily register and resolve DNS names, providing a managed service to easily get users to your content. By routing them and endpoints together, translating names like sampleapplication.net into whatever is needed for computers to access each other's. These endpoints may be an Amazon EC2 instance, elastic load balancers, CloudFront distributions, or actually any endpoint available on the internet, even including resources located in an on-premises data center. Route 53 also offers multiple ways to route your traffic, enabling you to have more performance, high availability, and fault tolerance in your architecture. And it is also fully compliant with both IPv4 and IPv6. And because it is an AWS service, it's built to leverage and integrate seamlessly with many other AWS cloud services.